Yeah. Legitimacy, authenticity, naturalness. So I was considering in these visions, in these sort of thought forms, contemplation forms, whether it was I talking to someone being interviewed or someone being interviewed by me, talking about being a content creator and why you're doing it. And to be honest, to be authentic, to be legitimate about it, it's okay for one of the reasons to make money. Like, sure, fine. It would be wise, perhaps, to have it not be one of the first one or two, like the top one or two reasons, but in general, if it's not your main aim to make money, because then your message and your purpose, the meaningfulness, the authenticity, the impact of the content itself is going to be tainted, shrouded, clouded, usurped. What's the word that I'm thinking of? Compromised, right? If the legitimacy and the sort of heart and soul of the content is compromised by I want to just get paid the most, it's not going to be a good message in more ways than one. It's okay to make content to make money, just not having it be the top reason. But the heart and soul, the core of this particular video is authenticity, legitimacy, and not being overly invested, overly emotional about it. So, more specifically, the fact that the top reason can be something along the lines of, and this doesn't have to relate to content creation, this can relate to how you operate in the world, right? Let me see if I can make this slightly straighter. Slightly. Cool, slightly. The fact that through content creation, through whatever else, through general communication, if not the top reasons for communicating in general, for emoting, evoking in general, if it's something like, I feel a calling, this seems meant to be, and I'm fulfilling that order, I am answering the call. There's a lot of power in that. And this video specifically, and just my content creation in general, and how I act forth in the world through my job, through communicating with people, through doing whatever it is that I'm doing, it feels better and better the more and more aligned that I am with the authenticity, the legitimacy of, I feel a calling to do it, and I'm gonna do it, right? And then there's much to be said about closing the gap between your heart and soul is calling you, right? Closing the gap between the ring, 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 and you picking up and answering the call. And at least in my personal experience, doing this enough times, you notice the intricacies and the sort of subtleties. So I've noticed that, in terms of the heart, the soul, the intuition, it's impartial. So if you're getting called, for a short-term thing or a long-term thing, right? It's like in terms of like gigs, like contractor jobs, like, this job will last just like 10, 15 minutes. Or, hey man, if you answer this call and you keep answering this call, like this is going to be with you for the rest of your life, like, and everything in between. So answering the call, it's interesting how, again, at least in my experience, the heart, the soul, the intuition is very impartial. You can answer the call nearly instantly. You can answer it a week later or not at all. And the heart, the soul, the intuition is like, okay, like that just is what it is. No opinion, no emotion about it. Just is what it is. If in the future this is still a thing, I'm going to make a call again. You can answer it or not answer it, or answer it next week if it's still applicable, if the offer is still available, right? Things like that. So this is a very real thing. And if this doesn't seem or sound real to you, you don't have to take my word for it. You can essentially immerse yourself in these places, spaces, internal situations where you're listening. And things that come up, it can be the voice, the essence of thoughts and emotions, but that's different from the heart, soul, intuition. It's different. We'll just call it the soul. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it the voice of God, etc., etc. I'm just going to call it the soul. So, the soul voice or vision is different from the thought, emotion, speaking, or vision. Where the thoughts and emotions, if there's emotion attached, if there's a sort of frenzy, anxiety attached, that's definitely the thought, emotion messaging. When it comes to the soul messaging, it's light, it's tender, it's neutral, it's impartial, and the more you're listening for it, the better you'll get at discerning the difference between the two, between the thought, emotion, and the intuition. You'll just, at a certain point, you'll just be like, okay, yes, thoughts, emotions, thank you for your opinion, I'm listening. And then you can get to a certain point where you're like, okay, like, I'm done listening to you. Like, you can vent in the background, but like, I'm just gonna live my life. And then circumstances just happen naturally in life as, you're letting your little toddler, right, which is definitely in line with like the ego, where it's like the ego has all of these thoughts and emotions and opinions, so we could just put all that into the toddler ego, right? It's like I've had these speculations that the ego overall can have different aspects, where the ego can really help if it's just like, if it's tamed, if it's trained, right? So, at least in my perception, in my experience, there's a toddler ego, and then there's a helper ego, where the helper ego can essentially say, I'm not sure about this, or this seems like a good idea, a good plan, and you can have a mature discussion with it, a mature dialogue, a mature game planning masterminding with the ego. But until it's trained, until the dragon is trained, right? How to train your dragon. Until that happens, it's essentially you just doing your thing and the toddler ego just, whining, expressing its opinions, its viewpoints, freaking out, lashing out, doing its frenzy thing. And that's fine. And then you can put yourself forth in life, you're doing your thing, and then you get to a certain point where it's like, the ego goes, things are actually okay, actually. Oh, right. Things are usually okay. Oh, right. Right, totally. Good. Right, so like, as you put yourself forth in life, just having the thoughts just in the background, like, okay, you're venting, like, cool, whatever, I'm living my life. And then it essentially shuts up, gets a little more quiet, a little more stoic, as you, the conscious, free-willed individual, are moving forth in the world, and you're like, look, I'm doing this, things can be simple, things can be complex, I'm doing it, I'm moving forth in the world, here I am, here we go, here I'm going, right? So, to tie this in with the original topic at hand, legitimacy, honesty, authenticity, and this ties in with us watching out for the emotionality of us, there's even a spiritual ego. If you've been in the circle, if you've been in the game of the spiritual, landscape, about the spiritual ego, and this is just toddler ego with a different costume on, essentially, where it's like I've been discussing the main reasons for whether it be creating content or doing anything in general. If one of your reasons is powered by the spiritual ego, which is, I just want to be so loving and sharing and providing my gifts to the world. Now, if you can do that in a humble and a legitimate way, a mental, emotional, neutral, honest, authentic way, without needing it to be flowery and emotional, that's very powerful. But you don't have to flaunt it. So you can take that and go from the spiritual toddler ego to the mature ego, and powered by soul, powered by heart, powered by intuition, having the legitimate soul calling, where you barely have to make it too heady, intellectual, or too emotional. If that comes up naturally, so be it. But what really matters is in the soul that you're listening to the messages, you're listening and hearing the calling, you're answering the call, and you're acting upon it. You're moving forth. You're closing that gap of ring, 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 pick up the call, okay, going. Right? Not let's go, not this is going to be a journey. No, it's already boots on the ground, going. Ring, answer, going. Closing the gap. Through the calling, not through the mind and emotions. They can help, but they need to be your servants and not your masters. And at the end of the day, if you if we are calling, how do I word this while maintaining neutrality, authenticity, honesty? So the soul, the heart, soul, the intuition, the soul is not necessarily a master, more so as it is a peer, a confidant, an equal, but at the same time, a very wise guide. A wise guide, right? Where it would be wise for us because, all right, this is subjective perspective zone, but take it for what it's worth, take what resonates. But the way that I perceive it and experience it, it's, yes, it's a peer, P-E-E-R. It's someone you could call a sort of cosmic sibling. But at the same time, it's a metaphysical sibling guide that is just metaphysical. Barely physical at all, if at all. So there is obviously advantage to having someone on the inside, right? You've heard the phrase, oh, I've got a guy on the outside, right? Well, to have a person on the inside that's essentially purely on the inside, on the metaphysical side, seeing things, perceiving things that you don't, at least don't perceive yet. So we'll leave that at that. Take that for what it's worth. Take what resonates. It's just been in my experience, and all the times that I answered the calls, right? Whether it be through the inner voices, the inner visions, and I've talked before about dreams, like night dreams, daydreams, where it's like, whoa. Like I had one just this morning that I'm, still processing. I've been processing it all this morning. I'll be processing it. Well, I'm processing it while talking, and I'll be processing it more throughout the day. Like, it was a doozy. It was a heavy one. But in sheer soulful progressivism, optimism, benefitism, you take the tough stuff, you take the challenge, you take the tension, you see it, you face it, and it transcends as you get more willing and able to answer the calls, to face it, to be present, and to go forth. Woo! All of this and more. All of this and more soon. Alright, I like to end the video with respect. Respect to you, to me, for continuing, for surviving, for answering the calls, for facing the tensions, facing the challenges, and going forth, and even just being present and having the things transcend as life goes, as you go. The transcendence, it just keeps happening. Respect to our bravery, respect to our follow-through, respect to our ever-increasing wherewithal, will, confidence, all of that. Respect to our multi-dimensionality, all of our layers. Respect to the thoughts, the mind, the emotions, the soul, the physical body, the physical, the metaphysical, all of it. And the fact that we're just, an antenna, a receiver for all of this. Amazing. Respect to Earth, to the cosmos, everything in between, all the elements, The fire, the sun, the air, the earth, the food, the water, the natural seasonal cycles, the life cycles, all that in symbiosis with our multidimensionality, our multi-layered existence, our symbiosis, our mutuality. Woo! Mad respect. This is Mac 11. Catch you later.